The 93 Victims of Samuel Little, right? Now this is already debuted and it is up on the ID channel, ID Investigation channel.
Yep.
It is called The 93 Victims of Samuel Little, right?
Wow. Yeah.
Now, Samuel Little killed 93 victims, right? So it's an episodic series again on ID channel, right? Hashtag 6 Nights of Serial Killers is what it is, the tag. If you go and put the tag in, it'll bring up all the serial killers. This particular one, Samuel Little, had 2 nights.
Yeah.
So it's a 2-part series on him, right? 2 episodes on him within this series of 6 Nights of Serial Killers, right?
Right.
So this guy, well, let's break the synopsis down real quick.
Okay.
An FBI agent, crime analyst, putting the pieces together to solve murders, killings conducted by a possible serial killer, spans multiple states, counties, municipalities around the United States of America, and her investigation uncovers years of murders conducted by one man who has 93 victims.
Wow.
Samuel Little killed people within 19 different states in the United States of America between 1970 and 2005. 1970 to 2005 when he was finally arrested, right? Now, he killed women, right? And what was...
All women.
All women. And what was unique about these women were they were the, what you would call the indigent.
Yeah.
They were the ones who were in the society that most societal people call throwaways. People who would not be missed if they were ever really ever missed, right? So this is what he did. And of course, you know, I came with a edit to give more detail about him, because this is the first show, November 1st, episode 137 of hashtag TFR Podcast Live. And we are now in what is called the dead season, right? Before the spring equinox comes back in March, right? So we are in this dead season now, and you have to guard your children. You have to guard your female children. You have to guard your female aunts, your moms, everybody. You have to be very diligent, because this is this time of year where this goes down, right? So let me bring that up. Now, let's look at this real quick, because what makes his story so unique, I think that you should smash the share button and the like button on this, and tag your people on this, because this is very important. This guy was born in Ohio.
Lorain, Ohio.
But you know, when they're talking about Ohio, when they talk about all those different places, Moon over Parma and Lorraine and all that, you know what, Lorraine, you know, that was a Nat King Cole song, and on WUAB every morning they would play that, you know, song by Nat King Cole, because WUAB 43 was coming from out of Lorraine. So when you mention all these places, they always show you Cleveland, because Cleveland is the main city, and these are urban sprawl. Like when the people ran out of the city, when they tried to say go back to Africa, ends, but that didn't work. They urban sprawl, and they made all these various communities that they drive in an hour and 45 minutes into work, hour and 45 minutes out of work, hour and 45 minutes into sporting events and the flats and the 4th Street, and then you pull back out, right? Hour and 45 minutes, right? They show Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah. Right? And so this is not one that we would like to claim, though it can get pretty deep in Cleveland, Ohio. Like if you don't know what's going on, it can get pretty deep, pretty deviant. So listen, we're getting ready to play this. If you're squeamish in the stomach, viewer discretion is advised on this. But we edited it up, so that yours truly, so we would give you context. And of course, we're going to break in and talk. But this is the dead season. And you have to guard and keep your children, your females in your world, in your life safe.
And I say little boys too, because people are sending little boys to the store, and
of course, that goes to saying protect your children, period. But we're talking about this guy was going after people who were the
homeless, prostitutes.
The same as the dude on 93rd. That's true. Very much so.
He also picked up hitchhikers too.
Wasn't that Imperial?
Yeah, the Imperial.
That was the Cleveland Strangler. Right?
Sure was.
And he was barbecuing and inviting people over.
Neighborhood cookouts.
They said his barbecue was good too.
Feeding people, human beings.
Alleged. They never really quite said that. It's allegedly.
The news reported it. It was in the articles.
So watch this. Watch this, people. Viewer discretion is advised. Here we go.
Are these haunting paintings the work of a man who may be America's most prolific serial killer? 79-year-old drifter Samuel Little is a talented artist and a self-confessed killer. Earlier this year, the FBI released 27 portraits of women he says he murdered. Now Little is claiming he's murdered 93 women in all. 60 Minutes reporter Sharon Alfonsi was shocked when all the portraits were lined up in one room.
These are all of his drawings.
These are all his. Tell me about Mary Ann.
Pause that for a minute. What makes his killings unique is he has a memory, a photographic memory, and he drew all of the women that he killed.
Really good artist.
That Lorraine or Cleveland education, because there was a great arts department. I came through great arts department. But anyway, he is able to draw the victim verbatim, and they exact likenesses, and they have matched up photos to his drawings. Let's continue. This guy right here. Now, so listen to the way he talks about what he did. This guy, in our opinion, is a psychopath and sociopath. Okay, he just listen.
She's what you nowadays they call a transgender.
She's a black male dressed up as a female. Okay, how tall is she?
Marianne's about 5'7", 5'6". She weighed about 135, maybe 140.
In an interview airing this Sunday on 60 Minutes, Texas Ranger James Holland talks about his interactions with Samuel Little.
There's indications of visualization of when he's thinking about a crime scene. He'll start stroking his face.
Hamilton County Prosecutor Joe Dieters has now laid out the case against serial killer Samuel Little. As we were first to report yesterday, Little is indicted for 2 different murders here in Cincinnati.
9 on your side anchor Tanya O'Rourke has been following this story closely. She was at the news conference today. And Tanya, did you hear anything new?
We absolutely did. Not only did Dieters speak, but I asked the 2 people who took Little's statement from his prison in Los Angeles to take the podium and explain what it was like to be in the room with the man who has admitted to killing 93 women. They talked about the fact that Little strangled his victims and why, and what you're about to hear is chilling.
And tell me about where you met her at.
I seen her down at the Guar on 17th Avenue, and she had on a short cream miniskirt. Cream and red. So then this opportunity popped up. Take her to the store.
Right.
Instead of me bringing her back to the apartment, I went down 27th Street. That's going down to Fort Lauderdale, called the Alligator Alley. It turns into, it runs in the Alligator Alley.
Right.
But the further out you get, the further you get out of Miami.
Right.
And you got vegetation.
Now, how far outside of Miami do you think you were?
About, it wasn't too far to Miami, right there. I was in my stepdad's car, Pontiac Le Mans.
Now, where'd you take her to?
Continue down 27. Got back on 27.
Going outside of Miami. Okay.
Miami.
Going away from Miami.
Going away from Miami. We got down past the let's say limits. So I continued on toward Fort Lauderdale, and I seen a road going off the main road back into vegetation on the left side. So I got out of the car, pulled her out, and drug her into the growth.
The documentary is on ID Investigation channel. All you do is just put hashtag 6 nights of serial killers. He has 2 nights himself, right? Guard your loved ones. Guard them. Know where they are, because there are some sick pups out here. There's some sick pups out here. So let's go down to the breakdown. Now, the cinematography is going to be a little different because you have to add in the cinematography, the sound, and using clips and connecting sounds from different time periods, news reports and everything with different time periods. That is a 10, right? Reenactments, because they have reenactments, right? That's a 10. Storyline through line, building the story. The first episode of this, the 93 victims of Samuel Little, they build it methodically. They show you some murders that were unsolved, but then a DNA hit kicks it off. So that's what we're gonna say about that. So the storyline through line is a 10. Character arc, building who Samuel Little is to the way that he is now, as now a 74, 75-year-old man. Building his character arc is a 10, right? Capturing the era that all of this was taking place between the 1970s and the early 2000s, that's a 10. The locations within the reenactment, the locations they show you where the murders took place, that's a 10. Story beats, how they connected the different killings, murders, and then connected them to later in his life. Story beats, that's 10. And his life in the past, that's a 10. Believability, believing that he actually was the actual serial killer, was established early on. Historical facts about it coming from his mind of what the different places looked like where he took his victims, right? That's a 10. So what would you rate 93 victims?
I mean, I agree with everything you said. I would give it a 10 because the documentary was well done. We learned about him, the individual. We learned about how he grew up. We learned about why he did what he did by learning about his background. We don't want to give anything away because we want you to watch it, but while he was traveling, he was not traveling alone while he was doing this. So you'll learn who he was traveling with you know, while he was on his journey